Hey guys, it's Ginny. In today's video I'm going to show you how I cut a pineapple. So first of all, you want to make sure your pineapple is ripe, which means it's going to be golden all the way around on the outside, and usually the leaves can get a little dry. This one's a pretty small pineapple, but you can already see that I've cut off, well, maybe you can't see, I don't know, my camera's not very good quality, but I've cut off the bottom, and I usually just cut off about, I think it's about an inch thick from the bottom, and then I cut off the same amount on the top so that we have those. So I'm gonna throw these away. Yeah. So now we just have the core left, and the first step is I'm gonna cut off all of the outside edges. And I use this knife. I don't know what kind of knife this is, honestly. I don't know the names of things. So I'm going to use this knife, and this is my favorite knife to use to do it. So if you have a knife that looks like this, then use that, I guess. I don't know what it's called. And basically I just cut really closely, as close as I can to the edge, so that you end up with it looking like this. And I know this camera is not the best. Now ideally I almost cut a little too deep here. I like to cut it so that the eyes are still visible like this. And sorry I'm not really showing you very well like as I am cutting it, but my camera, my computer I guess, is just not really set up for that. You know, it's a laptop webcam, it's not a point and shoot camera. So I usually go around and cut all the way around like this. And now if you can see here, the eyes kind of go in a spirally pattern. Let's see, we got a little, sorry, a little bit extra gunk on here that we don't want. Okay, I don't know if you can see here, but see how the eyes kind of go in this spirally pattern? They spiral around the whole pineapple. So what you're going to do is you're going to just cut off the outside all the way around. And this is the way I cut it because I like to get the most out of the pineapple as possible. So there are definitely faster ways to cut a pineapple, but they won't get you all of the pineapple. Like, you will cut away more of the pineapple, because you can just cut off the pineapple so that the eyes come off as you cut the edges, but then you lose all the sweet pineapple that's like between the eyes, and the sweetest part of the pineapple is like the outside of it. So you don't want to do that, right? So I'm not doing a very good job of like cutting it really closely. I'm kind of cutting it a little too deep. But I'll show you guys here in a second. Yeah, I'm kind of cutting it a little too deep because you can't see the eyes. Like, I cut past some of the eyes. But the point is that you want to see the eyes so that you can, oh, there, on this side it's not so bad. So then you can just follow the eyes. I can't tell where I'm pointing at because I'm looking at myself in the camera, in the spirally patterns. So I'm almost done cutting around it. I have just a tiny bit left to cut on this. And so once you are done cutting the edge off, you're going to cut a little wedge into the skin. And I'm hoping this pineapple is still good because it's been sitting here for over a week. I think it's still good. Okay. Make sure I got all the edges off. Alright, so now that it's like this, I'm going to cut a wedge in this shape, and I will show you guys what that means because I know it's a little bit hard to kind of visualize. So first, I'm going to throw away all these little peely parts. Okay, my mom probably gets annoyed because I do this. I always keep a trash bag on my counter because I eat so much fruit and stuff, and like, I don't know, it's just easier for me to have a trash bag on the counter where when I'm preparing food I can just like put it in there rather than like do everything and have to go over to the trash can. I always just keep a bag for trash on the counter. Okay, my hands are a little sticky here. Okay, so now that I have the skin all cut off of the pineapple, I'm going to show you guys how I cut following the eyes. So I did cut off a lot of the eyes where I didn't mean to. This pineapple, the skin was kind of like, sometimes the skin, it goes further into the meat of the pineapple, depending on the pineapple. So, but I think you can see pretty well, at least in this section, how they follow a spiraling pattern. So you have a spiraling pattern here, those eyes right there, and then these eyes here, all follow a spiraling pattern. So what I am going to do is just cut right along the edge of those eyes, and I try to do it as far around as I can in one single cut. And inside of all the eyes, if you didn't know this, if you've never cut up a pineapple yourself, inside all the eyes are seeds, and they're not very tasty. You don't want to eat those. So what I've done is I made an incision on both sides of the eyes, if you can see here. Okay, right here. I've made an incision. Sorry, this is really hard to do. Okay, here we go. So these eyes here are the ones that I'm gonna, right here are the ones I'm gonna cut out. So I made an incision on this side, and I made one on this side of the eyes. And then what I did is I'm gonna take the knife and put it into one of those incisions and just kind of cut so that to connect them, and then it will peel out like this. So I have this little sliver which has the eyes and the seeds in it, and that is an open space right here. And you're going to do that all the way around, and what you'll end up with is like a spirally little pattern. So I'm just going to cut a little bit to give you an idea. So when it's done, it will kind of end up looking with all of them like you have, maybe you can see better this way, maybe not. You have holes, and then you have a piece of pineapple in the middle. There you can kind of see it. So this part is like sticking up. And that's the part, if you were to just cut off all the eyes, you would be cutting it off right there all the way around. You'd be cutting off another good ½ an inch or so all the way around, and you'd be cutting out this part. So that's why I like to cut it this way, because you don't waste that part, because the closer it is to the edge, the sweeter it is. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting this all the way around, and I will show you guys after, because you don't need to sit here for like 20 minutes while I do that. Alright, so I now have my pineapple that is completely spiraled. Oh, there's a cat hair in it. Gross. And it's really juicy. It's dripping everywhere, but I think you can see pretty well that it's spiraled. It looks really pretty like this. And now from here, there's several different ways that you can cut it. And so you could just cut it like in slices like this, and then that's pretty easy to eat. You just kind of can hold it and eat it, and then the core will be left in the middle. That's a really good way to get the most out of the pineapple, like if you really want to eat every bit of it. I don't always cut it like that because I like to eat it kind of like with a fork and not have to worry about the core, and it kind of hurts my tongue to eat it that way, to be honest, because it's a lot of like sucking on it. So what I do most of the time, I still eat it like that sometimes. I'm sure there's other ways you could cut it as well, but sorry, I got seeds stuck on me. I usually will cut it in half. So here's a half, and then I will cut it in half again, so I have a quarter of it. So like this. And then I will just take my knife and cut down here, so I'm cutting out the core. And usually if your pineapple is ripe enough, it will just kind of fall apart after you do that. That's how you know you got all the core out, because the core is really the only thing holding it together. So I usually hold it by the core like this and then cut down the edge, because if you hold it on the outside, it'll kind of fall apart and you won't be able to cut it very well. So yeah, this pineapple, by the way, is really good. I tried a little bit of it earlier. Okay, so here's the core left here, and honestly, you could see, this is why if you cut it in slices, you'll get more out of it, because there's some pieces on here that are still soft, like that you can totally eat if you just throw that away. That's really good. It's probably the best pineapple I've had in a long time. Okay. But anyway, so it doesn't end up just being me eating on camera. That is what I do to cut my pineapple, and then you will end up with lots of beautiful little pineapple pieces. And this pineapple I'm going to put into a Tupperware container and take it to work tomorrow for lunch. If I don't eat it right now, because it's really good. Alright, that's going to be all for this video. Let me know in the comments, how do you cut your pineapple? Have you ever cut it like this before? Will you try this if you haven't tried it already? What do you think of it? What's the best way to get the most pineapple out of your pineapple? Let me know down below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.